And I'm not being harsh here, this is the reality of any business. If you want to stay average in your business, just work on your own. If you want to scale it and serve more people and help more people with your services and products, then you need to have a team in place.
You probably struggled with that when you first started, and what can you tell people about starting out based on the struggles that you had, especially if there's fear involved?
Oh, fear is always going to be involved. It just shifts from one task to another one. Once you learn that task, like riding a bicycle, then your fear disappears from there, but it shifts to something else that you don't know yet. So if your hope is to not have fear anymore, that's the wrong hope, let's say. So fear is always there. Even now that we've done over 40 refer projects, it's not the same kind of fear, but it's always like a doubt, the unknown, what's going to happen this time. Because you never know, once you leave the floor, you find something else. But the advice I would give to people that are just starting out and they want to do this on their own is don't do it on your own, number one. Learn as much as possible from people that did it already, rely on them, don't try to micromanage, do as much as possible, leverage as much as possible, because if you want to do it yourself, the main thing I hear a lot is, okay, I'm doing it myself because I want to learn, and and I'm fine with that, but I know already that I'm going to expect a message later on say, Giuseppe, I'm never going to do that again, because it's a nightmare sometimes. Because you need to find the right people. In our team, we love our team. We've been researching them for years, and we tried a little bit on a project, and then we gave them a bigger project, and we saw that they are capable of doing it, and they're capable of communicating. Now, this is probably the most important part, communication. If you don't have good communication, and you mentioned about language barrier and so on, if you don't have good communication with your team members, and I'm not talking just about builders, I'm talking about everything in business, team members, then you're going to struggle when there are problems. So in my case, I was already speaking English anyway when I started out, but I didn't feel the language was a barrier, because I always tell them up front, look, be patient, I'm Italian, I'm trying to explain things properly, so don't get offended if I sound blunt sometime. I just need to know what's the timeline for this, how long it's going to take, when are you going there, and so on. So all these questions, if I upfront apologize and say, look, there's a language barrier here, just be patient with me, they relax a lot more, because they understand it, okay? But if you come across like, oh, you need to do this, because in certain cultures, they don't have the please. The word please doesn't exist. The please is implied in the question mark. For example, if I say to you, can you pass me that bottle of water? Now, I'm not saying please, but because I'm asking you, in my language, it's implied that, it's implicit that I'm asking you as a favor, okay? But when I came here and I didn't ask please, I was like, please? I said, oh yes, please, sorry. Sometimes in the message, I still ask the question, then I say, after another message, please, with the hands like that. It's normal, it's just a language, different language. But once you learn it, then if you apologize up front, then they understand it. The communication I was talking about was not dependent on the language barrier. What I was talking about is, if I send you a message and you don't reply for 3 days, that's bad communication. Likewise, if you ask me a question and I don't reply for 3-4 days, I'm terrible at that then. That means that I'm not giving you a priority. Okay, so when I message with my team, we have a WhatsApp group, we have, we updates, pictures and messages. I need to know they are on the ball with the messages, because it's really important to me, because sometimes I'm working remotely and I cannot be there in the project, so I need to have updates. So that's why it's very, very important that people are replying to the messages or calling you in a timely manner. When I say a timely manner, I don't mean just there in the moment, even if it's midnight, but at least don't let pass more than a day.
Yeah. When did you realise I can't do this myself? Was it something as as definite as that? It's just like, I can't do this myself, or did you stumble along?
Yes. Are you sure it's a 1 minute question? You touched a few points there. The delegation, which is very hard at the beginning because you think you know better than anyone else. You cannot trust somebody else to do the job better than you because it's your business. Now, unfortunately, this is not true. There are people much better than you can do the job, so you need to start delegating things that other people are better than you. But it's been a gradual thing. You asked me, if I started solo and when did I decide to build a team. Reality is, it's not like a switch like that. Reality is you start solo because it's your idea, it's your vision. And then as you grow, then you realize that you need to implement people into your business, that you can work well together, and then you can scale the business. Now, the answer is very simple here. If you want to be average, you will stay on your own. And I'm not being harsh here, this is the reality of any business. If you want to stay average in your business, just work on your own. If you want to scale it and serve more people, help more people with your services and products, then you need to have a team in place. You cannot do things on your own. At the beginning, I was doing everything on my own, but you arrive to a point where you realize that you're not growing anymore. You're actually overwhelming yourself, you're stressed out, you don't sleep, you're constantly thinking about ways to solve problems and so on. So basically, you're leaving a 9-to-5 job to get into a 24 hours job, which is your business, and you're not seeing any gain anymore. So your freedom is not freedom anymore until you put somebody in to help you with some tasks that can free your time to bring in more business. And then you bring somebody in, then you bring somebody else in, and so on. But that's the only way to scale a business. There's no other ways if you're planning to do on your own.
And what is the shortest route to success for anybody in anything?
So you're asking for the recipe for success. There are 3 things, I think, the most important ones are knowledge, take action on the knowledge, so the implementation of the knowledge, and then the other one is consistency. So consistency, discipline, momentum, they all go into one category. So you have the knowledge, education, that you need to learn what you're doing. A new skill, everybody can learn a new skill. Everybody. I'm a perfect example of this. I've learned everything from scratch. Then you need to implement that knowledge of that skill. So that's the second step. And the third step is to gain momentum. So you need to keep doing that. Keep consistency and be disciplined. If you go to the gym once and you don't go for 6 months, you're not going to get the abs. Okay? If you want to get these 6-pack, let's say, then you need to go consistently to the gym. So obviously I don't go consistently to the gym, as you can see. But obviously my point is the metaphor applies to anything in life. The more you're consistent with something, and I bet that if you want to learn a language, you study 1 hour a day, after 30 days you're going to know the language. The problem is you only spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes on Duolingo and that's it. But if you spend at least 1 hour a day, every single day, learning that language, you will speak that language after 30 days.
Does that apply to anything?
And that applies to absolutely anything in life. It's not just business or language or personal life, professional life, anything. It could be anything. Just knowledge, implementation, and consistency.
The question is, tell me about the rumours of this university that I've been hearing about.
So we've been building a framework for Stepping Bricks, and I felt it was much needed. So basically the mentorship program works really well. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to implement an additional resource for the people joining our programs. It's called Stepping Bricks University, SBU. Stepping Bricks University basically is a 3-day live event in here, so in Stirling, and people can come here, learn as much as possible this framework, which is a system, is a structure that was missing before, and based on that framework, they can refer back every time they're doing a new property strategy. Now, it's not just about property strategies, but it's also about beliefs, mindset, about implementation of the knowledge, about the actual property strategies. There are about 100 strategies, about 60 residential and 40 commercial. Then you have the communication side, you know, how to get your offers accepted, how you can influence people, how you can make them understand your situation, how you can help them. So communication is super important. If you don't know how to communicate, you're not going to get any offer accepted on the properties and so on. And then finally is how to scale your business. So we have a framework which is called BRICS model, so BRICKS, and each brick, each step is basically a model itself with different subfolders or things we teach our people to implement and have a pathway, if you like, you know, to actually follow a structure they can follow and they can succeed 100% of the time. So that's the step in BRICS University, where they come here 3 days live with me and the other mentors, and they can learn as much as possible.
They made a decision to believe in the vision.
And they made a decision to believe in the vision. I love that, Graham. I love that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like, remember to subscribe, click like, comment, and also share it. Don't forget that. My name is Dr. Giuseppe Paladini. I'm the founder of Stepping Bricks. Bye bye for now.